Well, here we are. The championship started in May at Sepang in Malaysia, and here we are for the final round of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS, and also the Fanatec Japan Cup. More of that anon, but the stage is set. We've got 3 crews that could take the overall title. One very much the outsider, but right now the important thing, there is no rain, there is no wind. It's a fine late summer day, early autumn if you like, at the Okayama International Circuit. Twists and turns and gradient change too to make it a really interesting place to be. The crowds are here drawing in, and it's all set fair. So let us go down with no further ado to Amy Izawa, who's down on the grid. Amy, what are the conditions like with you?
Thanks, Bruce. As you can see, it's another beautiful autumn day. The weather conditions are not too different than yesterday. We have a little bit more clouds in between the sun, which makes it a little bit cooler. So actually, it's really, really nice. But the excitement is just so high, no matter what happens on track. In 60 minutes, we will have a champion. Is it going to be a dark blue car, or a bright yellow car, or an aquamarine blue car? What is your favorite color? Well, let's find out. And I would like to welcome all the drivers onto the grid of the finale. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Amy. And one of the things we saw yesterday in the race we don't really want to see today is that car, the safety car. It's fine at the start of the race. We had it leading the field around, but what's it really like? Let's go to Tom Hornsby, who's going to compare it to a GT4 version, which will be starting from the back of the grid.
Regular Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia fans will be familiar with our Toyota Supra safety car. Have you ever wondered how it compares to this? The race spec Toyota GR Supra GT4.
Regulations dictate that GT4 cars must be much closer to the production versions than GT3, but there's still a big difference in performance between the race and road cars.
Both use a 3-litre 6-cylinder turbo engine, but while the road car produces 340 horsepower, Toyota's engineers have squeezed an extra 95 from the GT4. The electronic limiter, which caps top speed at 250 kilometers per hour, has also been removed.
In racing, weight is time, so naturally the road car is much heavier than the Supra GT4, which tips the scale almost 200 kilograms lighter. That's despite having additional items like a steel roll cage, rear wing and front splitter.
These last 2 items are made from a natural fibre composite, which is just as strong as carbon, but far more sustainable. The rest of the race car uses the same steel body and panels as the production version. Getting in and out isn't exactly dignified thanks to this high sill, roll cage, low bucket seat, and steering column. But once you're in here, the fit and finish is pretty good by race car standards. I've got a screen to see out the back, my field of vision is good, and just look at this amazing steering wheel from which I control everything on the dashboard.
And the price for all this? About $200,000 before you start adding spares, taxes and delivery. That's roughly 150k more than the standard 3-litre road car, but a whole lot more performance for your money.
Well, very interesting piece there. Hopefully we'll only see the safety car leading the field round. It's a pace car at the start of the grid from the start of the race. So conditions, as Amy said, a little bit cooler, a little bit windier. But what's the circuit really like? The Okayama International Circuit. Let's see it through the eyes of Tomonobu Fujiya, who's very suitable to pick for this because he qualified the D-Station Racing Aston Martin on pole position. Let's see his driver's eye.
Hi, this is Tomonobu Fuji from the D-Station Racing. Take a lap with me. I introduce Okayama International Circuit. Braking point for turn 1 is past the Dunlop Bridge about the 75 meters. Down shifting from 5th to 2nd. Take a wide exit and gain speed heading to turn 2. We are in 3rd as we take turn 2 and use a bit of braking to shift the car road. It's a little off camber here, so it will be on the stairs exit. We go through flat at S corner here. After the downhill, at the out of the corner, we will brake at 75 meters and shift down from 5th to 2nd. Ahead is the back straight on incline, so the exit speed will be important. Here's longest back straight. The Aston Martin has long gear, so we won't reach 6th gear. The hardest brake hairpin at this hairpin, we will shift down from 5th to 1st. Ahead is challenging driver left and revolver corner. We will use a lot of the curves here. The exit will be an incline, so carrying speed will be key for the lap time. Here we call this double hairpin. At the tight corner, we will shift down to fast. Traction at the exit will be important. The most challenging corner in the mic right corner, we will lift a little here. The final corner, we shift down to second from third to get more speed on the straight. Exit speed will be very important.
Well, Tomonobu Fujii cannot win the championship. All he can do today is try and win the race, but he's starting from pole position. But let's take a look. This championship, 3 crews can potentially take the title. Naoki Okamizu for Yogibo Racing, outside shot. He needs the win or nothing. He's in 3rd place. Nick Foster and Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim started yesterday equal on points with Kei Kozolino and Takeshi Kimura, but it's the Car Guy Racing crew who have a 3-point advantage today. So this race is really going to be one for the number crunchers. Nick Foster is starting 2nd on the grid, right in front of the Car Guy Racing Ferrari that's starting 4th. Then, of course, the extra factor of time penalties that will come during their pit stops. And Nick Foster's car will have 5 seconds less at a standstill than the Car Guy Racing crew of Kozolino and Kimura. So it's really, really tight. The tension one can feel down on the grid because we've got Kei Kozolino starting today and Nick Foster starting right in front of him. For Yokomizo, unfortunately, his car in the hands of his teammate Hideto Fujinami is back in on the 5th row of the grid. So a really different mixture of crews, but really all the drivers know they've just got to position their car. The Car Guy Racing Ferrari needs to get ahead of the 888 Mercedes. That's what they know. But let's go down because Amy is catching up with Nick Foster's teammate Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, who'll be starting the 2nd part of the race in that 99 Mercedes. Amy.
Back on the grids here with Prince Jeffrey. So today it's all about championship. You have 5 seconds difference in the pit stop and you are starting in front of the 777. What is your strategy today?
Well, I don't think I can tell you on that, but no, I think we're gonna just push as hard as we can, and you know it's our last race of the season, so hopefully everything goes well to our advantage, and we'll just see. It's a long race, so we just have to play it smart and push.
All right, perfect. I wish you all the best luck.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Thank you. You could just see the tension and hear the tension on Prince Jeffrey's face. His career's been a short one so far, but it could be culminating in a fantastic title win. Amy's just having to walk back 1 position on the grid, from 2nd on the grid to 4th on the grid, to catch up with the Car Guy Racing crew. Their Ferrari stands out even in the dark, super bright yellow, acid yellow and black, and it'll be started today by Kei Kozolino, and hopefully Amy can get down, but lots of people crowding around the door of the car. Good to see so many people down on the grid sucking up the atmosphere down there, but it really is one for the team chiefs. They've got to get the tactics absolutely spot on. They've got to be on top of the maths. But certainly if these 2 cars, Car Guy Racing Ferrari and the 888 JMR Mercedes, finish close to each other, it's much easier. So Amy's just going to squeeze in and hopefully catch up with Kei Kozolino. Let's go down and hear for the driver who finished 2nd yesterday.
Back on the grid with Kei Kozolino. Kei, it's all about championship. You have to be in front of the car, which is in front of you, to win the championship. What's your strategy?
Well, I mean, we secured a Japan Cup title in the Pro-Am, so actually we're already happy, you know. And the overall title was a little bit of a surprise, you know. I mean, in a way, I kind of feel sorry for the guys that are fighting for the overall that went to Sepang in the beginning of the race. And we just are lucky to be here. So, I mean, if we can take the title, yes, super happy. But even if we don't, I mean, we've pretty much accomplished our mission. So I'm just going to try to have fun out there and just make a good show for you guys today.
Congratulations on the Japan Cup.
Thanks, guys.
And all the best luck.
Thanks.
Back to you.
Thank you very much, Amy. So I think being slightly modest there, but we have different cars in the mix today. We've got that D-Station Racing Aston Martin on pole position and the Studi BMW right in behind. So the season started back in May at Sepang in Malaysia, but since then all the rounds have been parts of the Fanatec Japan Cup. First in Suzuka, then Fuji, then Sugo, and here at Okayama. So plenty to play for, and it's a tricky stage on which to go racing. It's tight, it's twisty. Let's take a look at the track map. Simple to the start, a fairly open first corner, downhill through turns 2, 3 and 4, slightly uphill S, a little kink at 5, and then the most important corner of the circuit, top left-hand corner of the map, turn 6, an uphill right-hander onto the longest straight. Possible to overtake into turn 7, but as you can see, where just around the bit where it says int 2, it gets very, very tight and twisty, down to drop behind the paddock, then uphill for turns 11, 12 and 13 onto the start-finish straight. Again, if you can get a good toe, you've got half a chance, but it's tight, it's twisty, and it's very, very technical. So 1 minute 29.7 seconds, new lap record set yesterday by Kei Kozolina. He's a championship challenger. This is the view from the entrance to turn 6, and you can see how the circuit nestles into the landscape here in the southwest of Japan. A little bit of a breeze. Air temperature cooler than yesterday. The race is earlier in the day. 23.6 degrees. Track temperature 37.6. That should continue to rise, but yesterday it was certainly warmer. A bit more cloud cover today, but the good news for the drivers and for the fans, only 48% humidity, so much more comfortable today. And great view for the crews on the grid, being looked down on by the people in the grandstands, covered grandstands here facing. And if you get up high, you can see the track snaking off into the distance. But now we get that magical moment as the board's being held up in front of the drivers, 3-minute board being showed. And as the crews file through the gap in the pit wall, finally we can get to see the cars. And the flag on the right-hand side there, the red one, Fanatec Japan Cup. Let me just explain that as well. That was a championship across the 4 rounds in Japan. Suzuka, Fuji, Sugo, and here at Okayama. So we've got separate championships. We've got the overall championship that also includes the round held at Sepang back in May. So the stage is set. Who is going to win the overall title? Let's wait and see. Who's going to win today's race? Could be someone not in the reckoning. It could be that D-Station Racing Aston Martin that's starting from pole. Let's take a pause and consider the action ahead. Great mix of cars down there. 10 manufacturers in the GT class, 11 manufacturers in all, because there's also a Toyota, a GT4 we saw in the preview there, starting for Akilan Racing. The GT4 cars are at the back of the field, but just run down the front of the grid. It's Aston Martin from Mercedes, from BMW, from Ferrari, Mercedes, Porsche, Ferrari and McLaren. That is the front 5 rows. And then in behind we've got a guest visitor. We've got a Lexus RCF for the first time in the history of Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, and also the loudest car in the field, the brightest car in the field, the Bingo Racing Chevrolet Corvette C7. It really hits you in the sternum when it comes past. A fantastic rumble. But the most beautiful car, of course, is going to be the race-winning car. Which one will it be? Will it be the dark green D-Station Racing Aston Martin? Will it be the dark blue and silver number 99 888 JMR car? We heard from one of its drivers, Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. He's on the outside the front row. The car on the screen there, Yagibo Racing, took victory yesterday, but starting down in 9th position isn't the helping hand that Kyoto Fujinami would be wanting. But let's see, can anybody get the drag down to the first corner? Stage is set. The 1-minute board is being held aloft. The grid is clear. One of the McLarens at the back, the GT4 McLaren, keeps emitting a little bit of steam. I think that should be okay. It's the left-hand side of your image there. That's from SRO Motorsport. Went very well yesterday, finished 2nd in class. So, formation lap ahead. A sighter lap for these drivers around the 13 turns at the Okayama International Circuit. Track conditions have been fairly firm, but bear in mind that just 2 days ago we had the edge of a typhoon blowing through, but yesterday was glorious and everything got dried out. So you can just imagine the tension starting to rise in those cockpits. Drivers, though, once you're locked in, that's all you need to know. Nobody else can interfere with you. It's all your race. But of course, it's not just your race, it's a 2-driver race. We'll have the pit stop window, and at that point I will mention the drivers who've had success penalty. If you won yesterday, which is the Yagibo Racing Ferrari, you have an extra 15 seconds added to your minimum pit stop time. 10 seconds for the car that finished 2nd, which is that Car Guy Racing bright yellow Ferrari, and 5 seconds for the car that Nick Foster is starting, the number 99 Mercedes, from the outside of the front row. So Tomonobu Fujii will start from pole in the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. Going on to the second row, Seiji Aro. That BMW pulled off very early in yesterday's race, but has shown great pace. And that's another outsider. Kei Cozzolino, who was on the charge, ended up in second place, just short of victory. Jasmine Jafar in the second of the 888 JMR Mercedes with Yuta Kamimura. And I really think Porsche Centre Okazaki are due a good result. It's bright orange and it's quick. Reid Harker from New Zealand for EBM Giga Racing, and Kantadi Kasiri alongside a pair of Porsches that look very evenly balanced. Then Kyoto Fujinami hits the aquamarine yellow and blue striped Ferrari just in the background of the shot. That was yesterday's winner for Yigibo Racing. Then we go to the row behind. Shigekatsu Wakisako in the third of the Ferraris. That's from LM Corsa. And Morio Nitta, the K-Tunes Racing Lexus RCF. That's not eligible for points. Tadeo Ematsu, victor in the AM class yesterday in his McLaren. And alongside Ben Porter, the AMAC Motorsports Porsche this year. Shinji Takai for Bingo Racing, that is the Corvette. And Mineki Akura for the refueling ambitions Lamborghini. They are down in 15th and 16th positions. The last of the GT3 runners in 17th place is the Comet Racing Honda in the AM class. Then it's the Mercedes at the front. Shinya Hosokawa and Hideto Yasuoka. Yasuoka and his teammate Brian Lee just need to finish this race to take the GT4 title. Ueda Masayuki in the Akiland Racing Toyota GT4, Masataka Inoue in the Kref Motorsport McLaren, and bringing up the rear, Masaki Fujii, also for Comet Racing. They're running GT3 and GT4. So the safety car pulling into pit entry. That means the field should be just coming up the slope now. They're coming through turn 12. That's the penultimate corner of the circuit. They're doing exactly as the race director wants them. Getting side by side, in pairs, lining up, getting as close as possible. Then just wait for the back of the GT3 field. You can see the first of the GT4 runners, the metallic blue GTO Racing Team Mercedes coming into view. In fact, that's second in class on the grid. But for the drivers coming round, Tomonobu Fuji on pole position. That's the side closest to the pit wall. The D-Station Racing Aston Martin alongside championship challenger Nick Foster, the 99 Mercedes, tucked in behind. Kei Cozzolino in the car he's mainly competing against, and that's the Car Guy Racing Ferrari. They've really got held a long time. Brilliant start from Nick Foster into the lead of the race, and the Car Guy Racing Ferrari trying to go around the outside. Two abreast is just about possible here. Tomonobu Fuji just hangs on. He was deep on the brakes into the corner. I'd sense there was contact with the Car Guy Racing Ferrari, and the two championship challengers have touched. Cozzolino must get out of the car. Oh, thought he might spin it round and not hit the tyre wall there, but there was a little touch. He came up the inside of Nick Foster. Push came to shove, and unfortunately shove came to the Ferrari spinning off. Will it be able to rejoin the race? Will it be damaged? Seiji Aro up to third place out of turn 6, and Porsche Centre Okazaki, I thought they could have a good race today, up into fourth place and looking very interested indeed. That's Yuta Kamimura. And as the cars snake around, I sense we've already got a signal for the drivers. They seem to have backed off the Kei Cozzolino Car Guy Racing Ferrari, facing backwards. That's on the decline, on the slope down towards turn 2. The Aston Martin leading the field around the safety car. They've seen the boards, they're backing it off. It really did look at the start as though Nick Foster had got the drag down towards turn 1, but the Aston Martin with Tomonobu Fuji at the wheel that started from pole, brake late, assumed the inside line, and then with the Car Guy Racing Ferrari trying to go to the outside, it just wasn't going to work. You weren't going to get 3 abreast through the first corner as it tightens. So we're going to have to do it all again. The cars are going to come around. They'll see the safety car, the Toyota Supra safety car. That's just passing the start-finish line now, waiting for the field. They're coming out of turn 12. So the field coming around at a bated pace. They can see the Supra safety car down, waiting for them at the end of the start-finish straight. So the car that's missing is the car that was leading the championship by 3 points coming into this the final round. It's the bright yellow Ferrari. They're going to be passing it within a couple of corners because it's on the outside of the track at turn number 2, facing the wrong way, having been spun around the contact with the rival title car, the number 99 Mercedes. Nick Foster's carried on in second place, but the Ferrari being pulled clear at turn 2 there. There's a little bit of damage to the front wing, but the fact it got beached in the gravel as well as it hit the tyre wall meant it wasn't going to be able to powered back onto the circuit and back into the race. So we now have a 2-horse race for the championship. It was a 3-horse race because we also had the Yigibo Racing Ferrari. A little further down the order, a real outside title shot that needed to win to take the title. It's gained 1, 2, 3. It's gained about 2 positions since the start of the race. But the safety car leading the field around. Let's take a look. It wasn't the best of starts from the Aston Martin on the left-hand side of the screen. It was a very, very good. It was a late hold. You can see how close the Porsche Okazaki entry got to the back of the Car Guy Racing Ferrari. Little puff of smoke. Had to dab the brakes there, and then look, at that point, it looked as though Foster had got the job done, but Fuji wasn't taking no for an answer, held that inside line. Cozzolino backed out of the corner, and it was at this point, the BMW came up alongside the Ferrari, and the Ferrari was the meat in the sandwich. Round it went. Kei Cozzolino, his options reduced enormously. Mercedes on one side, BMW on the other, and then into the tyre wall. Well, that's now not how we wanted the championship to be settled, but the cars here in the replay just about to see a signal that was thrown very quickly by race control. They knew the Ferrari was against the barriers, and at this point you can see they've seen the signal. They're backing it off. They're still trying to get heat in their tyres, but already the message was out to them. The yellow flags are waved, the SC boards are held out. So just waiting. We've seen the Ferrari for Car Guy Racing has been pulled clear, but that is an unfortunate start to the race. Very unfortunate indeed. And for Car Guy Racing, they've scored in every single race. They get to the final round and only 2 corners into this 1-hour race, into the barriers, and or more to the point, into the tyre wall and out of the race. So the nose of the Mercedes up the inside. The BMW had backed out of it a little bit because they realised it was 3 abreast. Seijiara pulled back, and at that point, unfortunately, Cozzolino and Foster came together, and round went the Ferrari. Standard procedure will be the start will be under investigation. The start itself was clean. That's absolutely standard procedure in international series, and plenty of tension down there at 888 JMR. Their championship challenger started second, remained second, but the championship rival has got back to the pit lane, albeit a lap after everybody else. They're going to check out the car. Are there any punctures? Maybe worth it. Yeah, the little front left-hand damage from the driver's point of view, but not enough to concern them. So that will be fully a lap and a half in arrears, and the safety car period. The safety car, I was going to say, should be in soon. It's going to be in at the end of this lap. So all Kei Cozzolino and his teammate Takeshi Kimura can do is continue and see if something comes their way. But in international GT racing, you don't get a lap and a half back. So not a retirement for them. And the incident now between Kei Cozzolino and Nick Foster under investigation as well. Clearly contact in a GT race is always, or any form of motor race, is under investigation until the video evidence has cleared the crews. So for Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, it's the long wait until the halfway point in the race. He's hoping there's no damage to his Mercedes, but Nick Foster looks like he's running very capably in second place at the moment. But it was always going to be tight. It was always going to be tense. In a lot of these driver pairings, of course, a lot of them are Pro-Am. You've got the Pro in the first half of the race. So what you really want your Pro to be doing is racing at full pace, not being behind the safety car. But the safety car, as we've been told, is in this lap. The safety car is climbing the slope up to turn 11. We'll get to turn 12 and turn to its right into the pit lane, and then the start will be controlled by the Aston Martin in front. It must still be ahead when it reaches the start-finish marker, the line right beneath my commentary box. Safety car into pit in, and already Tomonobu Fuji's floored the throttle. Classic restart, quite a tight final corner onto the start-finish straight. Nick Foster's staying with him. Seijiara was a little bit slow on the uptake, so he's fallen back in the BMW in third place and being pushed very hard indeed by Yuta Kamimura in fourth. The clouds are starting to clear, I can sense. Yes, the sky is clearing. It's already brighter than it was when the cars were on the grid, but for Tomonobu Fuji, he's got to control this race from the front. He's more than got the pace to do that. Nick Foster has to hang with him, He would love to end the season with a victory. The Australian driver would certainly like to do that. It's a long way to go. 2 wins in the bag for Nick and Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, his teammate. Oh, a little bit of action further back. Now we've got to challenge the second of the Mercedes from 888 JMR with Jazeman Jafar, the Malaysian racer, all over the tail of Yuta Kamimura in that number 30 Porsche. Another Porsche right in behind Jazeman Jafar, and that's Reid Harker, the driver from New Zealand, in the white, grey, red in parts Porsche. At the front of the field, though, you can just sense that our pole starter, having resisted the challenge on the run to the first corner, has got a car under him, and he's very, very good at Okayama. That he can just start to stretch his legs. Nick Foster has to hang with him. Nick will be asking the crew, what's happened to the car guy racing Ferrari? Is it out of the race? It's not out of the race, Nick, it's back in. Is it on our lap? No, it's not on our lap, it's a lap down. So it's the back of the field and a lap down. However, at this point, it's easier for a racing driver to stay at 100% focus, not to back it off a bit and start trying to be a mathematician. With the one lap advantage, it's fairly simple maths. Right, looking down the field, who is leading in GT4? It's the car that started in pole position in the class, Shinya Hosokawa. The GT4 car's now being picked off by Kei Kozolina. There he is, but he's still a lap down on the race leaders, and a lap and a half, really. He's a lap down on the GT4 cars that he just passed him, but all Kei Kozolino could do, he was the fastest driver in yesterday's race in the closing stages. He just push, 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 and hope something comes his way. Fastest lap of the race, no surprise to our race leader. They're getting back up to speed again after that safety car period, and here is the race leader. Car 47, driver 47 is Tomonobu Fuji, D-Station Racing, the team based just on the side slopes in the hills just below the Fuji Speedway. And Triple Eight JMR, great looking cars, the pair of them, dark green with the light green flashes, and then the deep, deep blue with the silver stripes on its rear flanks, the Triple Eight JMR Mercedes. Flags are waving, fans in the grandstand opposite the pits, but it's been a much better lap for the race leader. His advantage last time was 0.974 of a second. He's gained more than a quarter of a second, in fact 3/10 of a second. So teammate Satoshi Hoshino will be in the pits rubbing his hands, and you can be sure that Tomonobu Fuji will stay out as long as he possibly can. The pit window will open when the clock at the top of the screen says 35 minutes of the 1 hour race remain, and they'll stay open for 10 minutes. And as the pro drivers are doing the first part of this race, by and large, in Pro-Am lineups, they will stay out as long as they can. So they'll be making late pit stops. In pairs that are more evenly balanced, they've got the choice of coming in earlier. And just looking at the pace of the driver in third place, there he is, Seiji Ara. Hit mechanical problems yesterday, taking the plus with BMW Team Studi M4 GT3 out of the race. And it must be said, the last year and a half has been very, very good for the M4 GT3 in this global formula GT3 racing. It took over from the larger, sort of meteor-looking BMW M6, and smaller, more nimble. And it's already had a considerable amount of success around the globe, particularly this year. And the best of the Porsches is Yuta Kamimura in fourth place. Porsche's enter Okazaki, wait for him. The orange car just coming into the background. Are the first four getting clear? Not really, because Jazam and Shafar should be tucked in. Just there we are, the second of the Mercedes tucked in fifth place. In fact, if anything, the first three are escaping. The Aston Martin, the 99 Mercedes, and the number 5 BMW. In fact, looking at we're talking about the Pro-Am lineups, the top 6 runners, right down to Reid Harker in 6th place, are all Pro-Am crews, but with the Pro at the wheel at the moment. Then the best of the silver pairings, so one of those evenly balanced pairings, is yesterday's winning car, the Yagibo Racing Ferrari. That's running in 7th place, just half a second clear of another silver class with entry, the number 18 Porsche AAS Motorsport, Kantasak Kusiri. Best of the GT3 AMs is Ben Porter for AMAC Motorsport. Just actually went that long shot down the straight from turn 7 back to turn 6. Just saw him coming up the top of the slope there, the Australian racer. So is there going to be any change at the front? Not looking that way. These drivers looking very, very well balanced, all lapping close to each other. But if anything, it's Ara who's the quickest of the 3 last time around. He's now starting to get the squeeze onto Nick Foster. Nick Foster, he's battling for the championship. It's almost in his pocket with that problem for Cozzolino. But he's just got to focus on what's ahead. He's got to not be challenged from behind, so he's got to stay on his toes, can't back off by even a tenth of a second, or the BMW will catch him very soon indeed. Oh, and Foster responds. He just put in the fastest first sector of anybody so far in this race. So he's doing precisely what he needs to do, staying on his toes, keeping the focus on the tail of the Aston Martin ahead. Not able to haul it in, but able to match it pretty much for pace. In fact, last time around was marginally the faster. Then fourth place, Seijiara in that BMW. Fifth place, Yuta Kamimura in the best of the Porsches. That's the bright orange number 30. Now down at the back of the field, there's Comet Racing with the Honda NSX. Oh, Honda NSX with damage, and there we are, turn 7. The Chevrolet went up the inside. Oh, dearie me, the number 44 Chevrolet gave it a real clout, and that is very unlucky for the number 7 crew. The driver at the wheel was Yorikatsu Tsujiko. So the damage may not be too bad, it may simply be bodywork, but you always worry that suspension's taken a bit of a clout there as well. These are the sort of incidents, little things that don't have any outcome on the championship, any bearing on the championship, and yet in a strange way they might. We might have a safety car period that could then close up the field, because while we have the Aston Martin just edging away, if a safety car comes out, the field gets bunched up, and that would put Nick Foster in second place under pressure from Seijiara for the restart. So these things out of the control of the drivers at the front of the field, could have a real role to play. Not wishing them on, just saying they're a possibility. Just waiting to see if the Shishiko Honda NSX comes into the pits or continues. I think it's just continuing. So, but for Tomonobu Fuji, metronomic. He's just gradually improved. He's gained about 0.15 of a second on Nick Foster. Top 3 cars covered by 3 seconds. Top 4 cars covered by 4 seconds. But you can see 5th and 6th, the 888 Mercedes and the number 8 Porsche. Not too far behind that bright orange number 30 with Yuta Kamimura driving it beautifully, it must be said. Now, this is the problem when you're running at the rear of the field and you're concerned about holding up the front runners, you back it off. That's what we're seeing from the number 4 Comet Racing Mercedes, and for Masaki Fuji, he's being terribly polite, but sometimes on a twisty circuit like the Okayama International Circuit, you actually have very little option as to where your car should go. And in fact, looking at Masaki Fuji's, there's Masaki Fuji. He's lapping about 5 seconds off the pace of his class rivals. It's very difficult when a car's that much slower for the faster cars, the GT3 cars, to judge exactly where it's going to go. But we're pleased to see that Fujinami and Kusiri got through without any untoward moments. Kyoto Fujinami drove very well under pressure in the closing stages yesterday to resist the charge of Kei Kozolino, just going past the point at which Kozolino's Ferrari was deposited in the tyre walls after that contact earlier in the race. It was on the first lap of the race, of course. Right, the incident where we saw the number 44 Chevrolet batter into the back of the number 7 Comet Racing Honda. Well, surprise, surprise, that's under investigation as well. Yigibo Racing took victory yesterday. Naoki Yokomizo doing a notably great job in the first part of the race. Lost a bit of his lead when the safety car came out. Stretched it out again, and then his teammate took it through to a fine victory. But today, that 27 Ferrari's down in 7th position overall. Do bear in mind, in the first part of this race, it's largely the pro drivers, but if you're in the Silver Cup class, you've got 2 drivers who are effectively pro drivers, and Naoki Yokomizo will be taking that over, so he'll be out against some of the lesser drivers in the other cars, so maybe 7th place could be changed considerably. However, as we get closer and closer to the pit window. Let's mention what happens if you win a race. You get 15 seconds extra at your pit stop. So unfortunately for Yigibo Racing, that is what they'll have when they come in. Their standard pit stop should be a minimum time from pit in plus the pit stop to pit out of 90 seconds. So it's 105 seconds that the 27 Ferrari for Yigibo Racing will have to be. And we saw, I think, one car yesterday coming out just a second too soon, and the punishment for that is to come in all over again, stop for a second and go back out into the race. So the punishment is way bigger than the advantage gain, but yet almost every race in GT racing and sports car racing anywhere in the world where there's a minimum pit stop time, there's at least one driver who just gets it wrong and then has to pay the price. Still close at the front of the field. 1.8 seconds last time between Tomonobu Fujii. Now this, looking at there, the 888 entry is Jasmine Jafar running in 5th place overall. He can get no change out of Yuta Kamimura. Not close enough to get a toe at Orange Porsches. It's about 1.5 seconds clear of it, and in turn a similar margin behind the Plus Team Studi BMW. So down this straight, this would be the chance to overtake, but you've got to be close enough to have a look. Now, yesterday it was the number 14 Mercedes that was leading GT4, but today, having started on class pole, it's Shinya Hosokawa, Team GMB entry here, black with the white polka dots on its bonnet, and yesterday's winning car, the Team GTO Mercedes, is in behind, not too far behind. So Hideto Yasuoka, GTO Racing Team. This is the crew that needs to just finish today in class. Points for 5th place would be enough for it to win the GT4 title. There are only 5 starters in GT4, so all it needs to do is start the race, this bright blue Mercedes, and finish the race. But they have higher hopes. They want to take another win. Just over 5 minutes until the pit window will open, and now we're just starting to see the end of the GT4 train. Got the penultimate position in GT4, and the race leader Tomonobu Fujii is heading off after it, 2 seconds clear of this car, the 99 Mercedes of Nick Foster. So little between these cars in terms of pace. Foster giving chase, obviously wants to end the season with a win, but far more important to him and his teammate Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, they want to end the season with the championship title. The best way of doing that is to just keep you cool, keep you calm. And Tomonobu Fujii diving down the inside of the Akiland Racing Toyota into the first turn. Had to hope the Toyota driver spotted him. He was clearly not happy to wait even a second. No caution required. He's down the inside. And Okayama Masayoshi saw him his teammate Ueda Masayuki saw him, stayed out of the way. That's good news. So Car Guy Racing yesterday chasing down victory. Today 22 cars still running, 22 cars running, and he's up to 21st, but he's a full lap and a half down on the race leading cars. All he can do is chip away, but that means he's got to pass every single one of his rivals to get back onto the lead lap. Not easy. Right, a message is just coming through, and it's not good news for the championship challengers. Car 99, its part in the spin for the Ferrari, Car Guy Racing Ferrari, a stop and go penalty. 100 seconds. That is stop, 100 seconds and get going. So suddenly, Kay Cozzolino, remember this, he's a lap and a half down. Stop and go isn't a lap and a half with 100 seconds, but it's a big chunk of that. So when will Nick Foster serve that time? Might be a good idea, unless you want to put your protest in, to come in and serve it now, because within 3.5 minutes, suddenly the pit lane will be open, the pit window will open, and the pit lane will be busy. Might as well do it at a point when it's not busy. You've got a choice. Do you wait until the end of the pit stop, close to the end of the pit stop window, come in, serve the 100 seconds at a standstill, and get back out, and then come round to hand over to a teammate? Well, it's up to the team. They don't want the pit lane to be busy. They want to maximise the amount of time that Nick Foster has at the wheel, because he is the quicker driving in that Pro-Am lineup. So suddenly, Giara, running in that number 5 BMW, is running in effective second place. He's 3.5 seconds down on the overall leader. And there is the overall leader, number 47, D-Station Racing, Aston Martin, and Tomonobu Fuji. And this Aston Martin shown good pace this year, took victory in the second of the 2 races in that extraordinary finish at Suko. Fastest in the race, 1.8 seconds clear of the 99 Mercedes, but of course that is the one that's got to come in and serve drive-through penalty in which it stops and is stationary for 100 seconds, which will feel to Nick Foster like 100 days. So here comes the 99 Mercedes, absolutely right, get it done, get out of the pit lane before it starts crowding for the regular run of pit stops are about to occur, and it's the long drive down to a fairly central point in the pit lane for the Australian driver, Nick Foster. He's going to stop in front of his garage and stay at a standstill for 100 seconds. And so the important thing is get to see how much the gap, the huge gap, the lap and a half gap, the car guy racing Ferrari that he will lose. Right, the car guy racing Ferrari is going to get onto the same lap. There it is, coming around past the pit lane, and with an average lap time of the front runners being about 90 seconds, that is that 100 seconds at a standstill is a lap and 10 seconds. It is going to be agonising. Add to that the time for coming into the pit lane and going out, and suddenly the battle that looked as though it was over after just 2 corners of this 1-hour race looks as though it's absolutely back on again. And now I shall mention the third factor in the equation, the outside title shot, Yagibo Racing's Naoku Yokomizo. Let's take a look at the incident, how it happened. Race leader getting into the second corner, and unfortunately Nick Foster going up the inside of Kei Cozzolino into turn 2, spun him round, and unfortunately at this point, you can see there's not much gravel trap. There's the tar wall on the exit turn 2. So still 35 seconds remain for Nick Foster as he sits there stewing in the cockpit. The race leader comes around to put another lap on him. That is now a lap clear. That is the Aston Martin, chased by Giara's BMW. Yuta Kamimura for Porsche Center Okazaki, heading possibly for a podium in third place, and still that clock is counting down. Now, this is the car we need to see through the tight infield sector of the circuit. Now sweeping down to the final corner, just looking through turn 12, through turn 13. Car guy racing will be ahead surely. Out of the final corner onto the start-finish straight. Nick Foster is going, but before he gets a pit exit, right now, the Ferrari's passed him on the track, so Foster's going to be about 10 seconds down. This is extraordinary drama. Still, Nick can't put the power down. Now he's accelerating, doesn't want any more cars between him and that car guy racing Ferrari. Bingo Racing Chevrolet goes through, one GT3 car between them. His pace will be much faster. Pit window, by the way, now open. Whoa, what a stirring of the pot. What a turn up for the books. 100 seconds was the penalty, which is a lap and 10 seconds at full racing pace, plus coming in, plus going out from the pit lane. It's not a long pit lane, but car guy racing, the 777 Ferrari in the background. You can see just behind that yellow Corvette, you can see Nick Foster. Nick Foster needs to get past that Corvette ASAP. He knows that. Luckily for him, he managed to keep the team Uematsu McLaren in behind him. Now, how many championship battles do you have your championship rivals in the 22-car field running in 20th and 21st positions? Luckily for the pair of them, some of the runners are already coming in to serve their pit stops, do their driver changes, but every corner at which Nick Foster is stuck behind the Bingo Racing Corvette is bad news. Oh, unfortunately for them, having to go past another car. So just as Foster had done the work, would have been out the inside, one of the Comet Racing entries, cut across their bows and then dived into pit lane. So, round the final corner. He'll have sight as he comes down the start from straight, just about of Kei Cozzolino's Ferrari, but that's already gone into turn 1. Foster has to go down the inside at this point. He cannot delay anymore. He does not delay anymore. So, what a turn up for the books. unfortunately, that yellow Corvette is also now under investigation for an incident with car number 19, which was the refueling ambitions Lamborghini started by Mineki Okura. I didn't actually spot what happened, but the race officials certainly did. But that will be investigated after the race. Probably quite fair. Handful of the Silver Cup class cars, the sort of pro lineup in the pits. We've got Yukibo Racing came in at the earliest instance for Naoki Okamizo to take over, so they could still have a role to play. But for D-Station Racing, they're Aston Martin leading by 2.7 seconds for the Plus Team Studio BMW. They could be going for outright wins that will be irrelevant in terms of the championship. Fantastic for them. Oh my word, this race has turned on its head. So here comes yesterday's winning car, Naoki Okamizo, about to blast out of the pits for Yugibo Racing in that bright blue Ferrari. There is the Comet Racing GT4 Mercedes. That's Masaki Fuji heading over as quickly as he can to Kazuhiro Sakai, who will go a little bit better. And in comes the Akiland Racing Toyota. Well, so much to consider in this race. Should we just talk about the people at the front? Let's talk about Tomonobu Fuji leading the race by 2.7 seconds in the Aston Martin. Then comes Seijiara in the Team Studio BMW. Then another maker car, the Porsche, in third place. And Jazeman Jafar, the best of the Mercedes runners now, of course, with his teammate Nick Foster having come in to serve that drive-through, stop and go penalty. Go after 100 seconds. He's running in fourth. Reid Harker in fifth. Mario Nitta in the Lexus RCF, the white Lexus RCF from K-Tunes Racing, is now in sixth place. But the pit stops still keep on coming, but not for the front runners. They're pressing on, trying to extend any advantage. 2.6 seconds now, the advantage for Tomonobu Fuji. So the pit lane pretty empty, but the track suddenly very, very full. And now let us give you an example of the gap. Right, Kei Cozzolino's coming across the line, and let's check his margin. He's now up to 15th place, now up to 13th place as people pit ahead of him. How far behind is Nick Foster? He's crossing the finish line, wait for it. He is approximately 6 seconds down. Well, this puts enormous pressure on their respective teammates. That means Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim is going to take over about 6 seconds behind Kei Cozzolino's teammate. That's Takeshi Kimura. This is going to test their mettle. They both lost a lap. They're not going to win the race. They may get into the top 10 just about. I think even that's too much of an ask, but it's their respective positions. For D-Station Racing, for the Aston Martin crew, this is looking really, really strong. Satoshi Hoshino will be waiting to take over. Here's the car that's been causing a little bit of a ruction out on the circuit, under investigation for a pair of contacts. It's car 44, the Bingo Racing Chevrolet. Looks great though. So it's suddenly very busy in the pits. The pit window is only open for another 4 minutes, so you can be sure that the crews are waiting to be changed. Seijiara, well, looking to sort of save their season. There was a second place at Sugo achieved on the run to the final dash of the line ahead of the final corner. And for Car Guy Racing, when Takeshi Kimura came off the throttle too soon, thought he was going to win the second race at Sugo, and 2 cars went by in a flash, and victory fell away from them. Oh, that loss of 10 points could cost. But D-Station Racing was the crew that came through to take victory. The BMW from Team Studio came through to take second place back at Sugo a few weeks ago, and they're running first and second at the moment in the respective orders. So Nick Foster into the pits, out of the car, Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim taking over that 99 Mercedes, suddenly back down to about 19th position in the race, but its battle is totally focused on another car that was delayed, a car that it spun on that opening lap. This car, Treble 7, the Car Guy Racing Ferrari. So Cozzolino will be coming in. Surely he can't squeak. He could just squeak another lap before coming in, or does he want to play it safe? No, he's going around for one more time. He thinks in 90 seconds time that will still be okay for completing the lap and then diving into the pits. He's only got one car in front of him as he comes down the start-finish straight. It's the Gibo Racing Ferrari. This was the battle for first and second in the closing stages of yesterday's race. So Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim coming out onto the circuit. All the pit stops done. One was a standard pit stop to be handed over to him. The other, unfortunately, for Nick Foster, who's there having a glug of liquid to cool himself down. There was the extra time with the drive-through penalty, which he drove in, had to stop for 100 seconds in front of the 888 JMR garage and then get going all over again. Cost him a lap and a half. So this last 26.5 minutes is going to seem a very long time for one crew and a very short time for the other. Right, into the pits come the first two cars late out circulating. The Aston Martin will be handed over to Satoshi Hoshino. Good run there from Tomonobu Fuji. And Seijiara also really went very well for BMW Team Studi. Yuta Kamimura will just come into shot there. Bright orange Porsche comes in from third place, and Jassim and Jafar joins him in the pit lane. They're all in. They couldn't stay out any longer. Busy place. Minimum time for a GT3 pit stop is from pit in to pit out. It must be 90 seconds. No shorter. And then the GT4 pit stops last necessarily a little bit longer. They're timed at 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Car Guy Racing, there we are, in to make its pit stop as well. Now, yesterday 888 didn't do such a good pit stop, and Car Guy Racing certainly did. But Car Guy Racing have an extra 10 seconds at a pit stop. 888 99 an extra 5 seconds from their good results yesterday. So bear in mind this, before the pit stops there was about 6 seconds between the 99 Mercedes. It was about 6 seconds down on the 777 Ferrari. The 777 Ferrari has got a 5-second extra time in the pits over and above the 99, so they should come out within about a second or so of each other, and then we'll have the run to the finish. So 99 fully up to racing speed. The 777 Ferrari still on the deck. All the pit stop is completed, but it's waiting to be signalled to get going again. I'm looking out towards the final corner to see where exactly the 99 Mercedes will be. Triple 7 Racing Ferrari gets going, looking for a dark Mercedes coming out of the final corner. If it's into the final corner now, it's going to be very, very close. 2 dark cars come. No, it's the LM Corsa Ferrari. McLaren still looking for the 99 Mercedes. Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim looking to see when he's going to complete the lap. It looks so Car Guy Racing have sucked up that 5-second penalty difference. And now, only now does Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim come across the line. So the last couple of laps from Kei Cozzolino were very, very effective, and it's got that car out ahead. Now it's the job of Takeshi Kimura down the slope past the point at which it was spun. That's turn 2. Through the S at turns 3 and 4, and then looking back to try and find the 99 Mercedes. Don't forget, Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim in the 99 Mercedes has been up to speed for a lap longer than Takeshi Kimura. 10 seconds between them on when they cross the start-finish line. So that just shows the value of those last few laps for Kei Cozzolino. Stayed out as long as he possibly could and use that speed So, all the pit stops have been completed. The lead still with D Station Racing. Aston Martin 2 seconds clear of the BMW now from Team Studi. That's Tomohide Yamaguchi's taken over after Seijiara. Third place, it's the number 30 Porsche Enter Okazaki entry, now in the hands of Hiroaki Nagai. He's another 5 seconds down. So top 3 covered by 7 seconds, but looking for any other timing intervals. Car is just coming to the pit lane after the pit window is closed. That's quite interesting. Unfortunately for the number 60 crew, I think it's the LM Corsa Ferrari that are outside the pit window, but that's their second visit to the pit, so it's not something that's planned. Now, what's happening in the front of the race? The BMW is getting closer and closer to Satoshi Hoshino. Aston Martin has led this race from start to almost 2/3 distance, and Satoshi Hoshino kicking up the dust. That's fine. Lots of the front drivers do that after they've got through turn 11. Now, is the Aston Martin being closed in by the BMW? Hoshino is escaping from Yamaguchi, so the leader is getting further clear. Now, my interest, of course, is the championship battle. Gosh, 10 seconds between Takeshi Kimura. He's running in 15, doesn't really... And looking for the gap back to Jeffrey here, now at full racing speed. The gap, when I said it was 10 seconds, that was also including the car in the pit lane having crossed the start-finish line before making its pit stop. So it's actually 4 seconds is the gap in the championship battle. The Car Guy Racing Ferrari is running in 15th, but it's 4 seconds clear of Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. How fast can Takeshi Kimura get up to speed? He just crossed the finishing line now with a lap of 1:33. Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim 1/3 of a second faster. It's down under 4 seconds. So Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim is now closing in with 20 minutes remaining. He's under 4 seconds down. He's got his target. It's close enough to see, close enough to chase. That's so important for a racing driver. If you can't see the car in front, it's very scary indeed. But if you can see it, and you can see you're chipping away, getting closer with every lap. There, look for the gap. A dark blue Mercedes coming over the rise on that run from turn 6 down the back straight. He can see his target, and his target, Takeshi Kimura, has to keep it together. Slightly cautious on the entrance of turn 7, but Jeffrey Ibrahim carries more speed in there. He's looking more balanced. He's got another lap on those tyres, another lap of heat, and getting his head straight as he looks at the challenge ahead. Through the twisty downhill section behind the paddock, loses sight of the Ferrari up ahead just briefly. How often does one get so excited over a battle that's a lap down and fighting for 15th place? But you have to, because this is the championship battle. Drama is going to be with us right until the checkered flag falls. Well, Amy has been very quick into the pits. Kei Cozzolino's car flashes by, and it's now in the hands of Takeshi Kimura. But let's go down to Amy with Kei.
All right, I'm in the garage with Kei Cozzolino. Kei, very unfortunate what happened at the start, and then, you know, the penalty. Now you are driving towards becoming a champion, I guess. There's a lot of mixed feelings, I guess. How do you feel right now? What happened at the start?
Well, I mean, I had a good start. Our tires were pretty warmed up. We had new tires. So I knew I was faster than the top two. And then I went for it, turn 2. I had a BMW on my right side, and I had the 99 on the inside, so I was pretty much in a sandwich situation. I couldn't do anything. But at the braking, I went in front of the 99, and the 99 just went straight for me. I could definitely feel he just went for it. I really love this sport until it gets to this point, you know. I mean, we're here to really fight as a sportsman, make it clean as possible. But I lost, honestly, all respect for 99, Nick Foster. I thought he was better than that. So if he wants to play like that, props to him. But he's just putting on a negative show for this race. So it's really unfortunate, yeah.
One thing we all are worried is the car fine, you know, touching the wall. Did it do anything to the car?
Fortunately, yeah, we were fine. I thought our race was finished at that point. We have some minor problems. We have some balance issues, so we're not at our top performance. But anyways, Takeshi looks like he's doing a pretty good job. Hopefully we can finish the race. So yeah, just fingers crossed.
Let's cross our fingers till the end. Back to you, Bruce.
Very well done, Amy, for catching up with Kei Kozolino, who told it absolutely straight. His car now in the hands of Takeshi Kimura, and the good news for him, it was 3.9 seconds clear of Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, but Kimura has now got up to pace, and he's starting to stretch the advantage. Just checking what it is this time around, 5.4 seconds, so he gained just over half a second on that lap. There could have been traffic interrupting either of that pair, but look, the clock continues to count down. 17 seconds remaining. Is it going to be an Aston Martin victory today? It won't help them to the championship. They hadn't got enough points to be challenging, but the good news for them is the tight battle is the battle for second place, because the fastest driver in the top trio is Hiroaki Nagai in that orange Porsche from Porsche Center Okazaki, and he's going to fill the mirrors increasingly of the number 5 BMW. So for Tomohiro Yamaguchi in the BMW, the M4, he's going to have to really focus on what's approaching from behind, and that's very good news, because for Satoshi Hoshino, that means he can make his escape at the front of the field. Maybe not necessarily the fastest driver on the track at the moment, but he's quicker than this pair because they're fighting each other. The pressure is off, which is hard to say. Extraordinary with under 4 seconds advantage and still just over a quarter of an hour to play. But for Aston Martin, there it is for D-Station Racing. It could be another win. They took the win in the second race at Tsugo on that final lap. What are the drivers doing to their Pirelli tyres? Who's going to be kind to their tyres and keep life through to the end? You can see on this circuit, not many high-speed corners, which really does put the load on the tyres, but lots of twisty business that, particularly here, turns 8 and 9 behind the paddock before doubling up at tight turn 10. So they're getting heat in their tyres, but not really having to put lots of load into them. So, as that closes down, the simple maths at the top of the field is if the cars finish as they are, the car guy racing Ferrari, if it still finishes in 15th, all it needs to do is finish ahead of the 99 Mercedes. The title will be theirs. Or will it? Right, let's talk about the outsider in the championship. Let's just talk at the moment about Yagibo Racing. Started the race on 104 points. They're running in 7th place, which won't give them enough points, because that would only give them 6 points. Just trying to see if Yokomizo will be able to gain many places. He should be coming across the line fairly soon to put another lap on the board, but he's way down on the 6th place car. Not close enough to draw that back within the remaining laps. So there won't be enough points to overhaul Car Guy Racing and the 888 JMR number 99 entry. Good to see the Lexus RCF. That's not going to be on the lead. Well, it's not on the lead lap now. It's just been passed by the Aston Martin. But this battle for second place is getting tighter and tighter by the second. Hiroaki Nagai is looking very interested indeed. Can he work the traffic? Oh, he almost ran out of road there. Well done to the Lexus driver from almost driving off the circuit to stay out of the way. So really, in terms of championship titles and the overall title, as long as Takeshi Kimura stays ahead in 15th place or in any place of Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim in the 99 Mercedes, then things are good. But you know what? Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim has raised his game. Suddenly he is the quicker driver by 1.1 seconds. So the gap is now down to 4.1 seconds. But as long as that bright yellow Ferrari from Car Guy Racing stays ahead of the 99 Mercedes, the title will be theirs. But at least for Kei Kozolino and Takeshi Kimura, they've got one championship in the bag. As Kei Kozolino said, they won the Fanatec Japan Cup. But obviously they'd like the overall title as well. Drama. It's two races. It's two races within one. Battle for overall victory. Looks so Satoshi Hoshino's got that under control at the front of the field, because this battle for second place. Oh, a mistake there from Hiroaki Nagai in the background. Ran wide on the exit of turn 6, and suddenly, instead of being half a second down on the BMW. I don't know if traffic made him go off the line, but suddenly that gap's not half a second. In fact, the Porsche driver's luckily still to be on the black stuff. You can see a replay there, a sudden puff of dirt in the background, and maybe in trying to get super close. Grass in the grille at the front of the Porsche. There's only 12 minutes remaining, shouldn't lead to too much overheating, but oh, how frustrating. I really fancied a good result for this car. I thought it might be second place. Not to be, surely. Oh dear. Track limits, first warning. You're allowed a handful of those, but that's the championship leading car. So Takeshi Kimura is really, really working it hard. So let's take a look at what happened. Right, the Porsche's close in behind the BMW, going down, braking heavily for turn 6. Now let's have a look. It's a long, long uphill right-hander. BMW gets it right, no traffic in the way. And it should be on the exit of this corner. The Porsche runs a little bit wide, looking okay there. No, just a tiny bit wide. That's not why the grass in the grille, but that is because further on it couldn't regain the circuit. And suddenly the pressure is off for second place. It's quite a big save, actually. So, let's just reassess. Nearly 5 seconds of margin from first to second, but the battle for second place, instead of half a second, is now 2.5 seconds between them. And suddenly, from the other Prince of Johor, Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim in the 888 Mercedes, he is now getting closer. Maybe it's a podium position for his crew. So Jasm and Jafar will be watching with interest, because the 888 car pressing on. Best results so far this season, a second place in the second of the 2 races at Sepang. Best results since the series moved to Japan has been 4th place. That was at Suzuka. Can it do the same again here, or will it go one better, go up to 3rd place? So here we are, fixated on the battle for 15th place as never before. Takeshi Kimura a lap down after the problems on the opening lap. The spin, the car in the tyre wall. Car recovered back to the pits, and the chasing 99 Mercedes. Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim has been closing with every lap of the last few laps. There was one lap where he lost a bit of ground, and it looks as though Kimura was responding. I think it was simply down to traffic obstructing his course. But now for Prince Jeffrey in the 99 Mercedes, he can see his prey, but the clock counts down. 10 minutes and small change remains. Will he be able to get close enough? Will he then be able to get past? Just a matter of pride. Top GT4, I've been talking about that for a while. It's still Team GMB Mercedes. Hitano 10 seconds clear of Brian Lee now. But Brian only needed to finish in the top 5. Already 5 starters. So there's our GT4 leader. And, that's GMB. They've already had 1 class victory. And it's Hiroaki Hitano at the wheel after a great start from Shinya Hosokawa, who took the class pole position. So, for all this, the simple fact that Car Guy Racing started this race with 3 points more, 126 against 123. That's the tally for the 99 Mercedes. It will be those points they're relying on, that point gap, because at the moment they're not in a position to score points. Their points only allocated for the top 10. It keeps it simple though. Keep the Car Guy Racing Ferrari in front of the 99 888 JMR Mercedes, and that's the maths done for you. So it looks as though all the drama was out of the window after that first lap. The second corner with the championship leader car spun off into a tyre wall, and yet dragged clear, returned to the pits, car under its own steam. Racing hard ever since. Kei Cozzolino stayed out as long as he could, gained every 1/10 of a second. They had a good pit stop, but now the 888 JMR can only chase. The drive-through penalty for that brought it back into the picture, but unfortunately for them, brought it down behind the Car Guy Racing Ferrari. Frustration for Hiroaki Nagai in the number 30 Porsche Centre Okazaki entry, that little slight movement of the car over the curbs, and then unfortunately onto the grass, really cost him big time. So it looks like he's going to have to settle for 3rd place. Last few laps, just trying to see if Abu Bakr Ibrahim had got any closer. The answer is it's very even between them in 3rd and 4th positions. Andrew McPherson, the AMAC Motorsport Porsche, just diving in front of one of the GT4 runners. Lap pace not as quick as yesterday. I think track conditions just not as kind for some reason. Maybe a bit of fluid down somewhere on the circuit, but there was more grip yesterday and faster overall pace, but it matters not. Oh, much closer now. It's a matter of pride here. Jeffrey Ibrahim started the lap 1.3 seconds down on Takeshi Kimura, and it has taken at least half of that gap in remaining half of this last lap. This last lap they're doing to get to 31 laps on the board, but of course the Aston Martin that leads the race has got 32 laps on the board. Both these cars a lap and a half in arrears. One because it was spun off, and the other because it had a drive into the pits, 100 seconds stop and go penalty, and put it out behind the Ferrari, but it's closing in all over again. Just remember the points tally before the start of this race. 126 points to the yellow Ferrari from Car Guy Racing, 123 for the 99 blue and silver Mercedes from 888 JMR. Six minutes remain in this race. Satoshi Hoshino looks safe in the lead. He's nearly 4 seconds to the good. Well, the script was certainly not written. This is free-form racing. How is this one going to shake out? It's a matter of pride. Cref Motorsport McLaren stays out of the way. That's running the GT4 class. It's run a handful of the races. This is not all of them. That was nice, neat, out, tidy, out of the way. So these pairs also battling over the Pro-Am Championship as well as the Outright Championship. So a lot to play for here. These various battles. Let's just explain. You've got in GT3, you've got silver lineups there for the top-ranked drivers. Then you've got Pro-Am, so these ones going for outright victory in a lot of races, scoring outright victories, but also racing in the Pro-Am class. So there's still titles to fight for. There's the GT3 Am class, then you move down to GT4, the GT4 Silver Am for any of the pairings as a silver class driver and a bronze, and then GT4 Am where you've just got bronzes, well, like the Zakalan Racing Toyota. Not close enough this time for Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. But he's looking, he's closed that 5-second gap, became 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Doing the maths, he's under half a second. So where is the move going to come? Not likely to be behind the paddock. Oh, and he's run very, very deep into 10. Well, that's not a place you'd likely look for an overtaking manoeuvre. Maybe the Ferrari went a bit deeper than he thought. Oh, well, that chase is now, the gun has been spiked. Let's have a look. Did he just get caught out by the Ferrari braking a little earlier? But to that point, I think it was a choice of turning to the corner and possibly hit the Ferrari. Just don't know if he just got a little bit close, but Prince Jeffrey here must be thinking, not in the gravel, not in the gravel. Just somehow edges it and keeps going, but instead of being half a second down as they come up to the start-finish line, he's now 1.8 seconds in arrears. I don't think he's got time to claw that back, as there's another car between them. So Foster and Ibrahim actually leading the Pro-Am sector by 7 points. So Rosalino Kimura could be sort of swapped around between the pair of them. Here's our race leader. Satoshi Hoshino, the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. Then comes the BMW Team Studi BMW, and in behind Porsche Center Okazaki closing in again. Hiroaki Nagai, he's really driven well apart from that one little slip up where he ran wide on the exit of turn 6. Lost all his pace down that long infield straight. Fell, instead of being half a second behind, he was 2.5 seconds behind. Now he's under a second behind. But I think the clock's going to count down. There'll be no change for second position out on the circuit. So Car Guy Racing staying where they need to be. That little helping hand from a little mistake into turn 10. And it looks as though the title will be theirs. But you can't fault Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim for trying. He really was giving it a push. He hauled in 5 seconds. But the simple fact that he had a 3-point deficit starting this race, the Car Guy Racing crew of Cozzolino and Kimura, is going to prove surely now with 2 minutes remaining too much to overhaul. So D-Station Racing looking good, the camp looking very happy. He had a big PR presence down on the grid, this will be their second win in 3 races. And in fact, it could be the same finishing order as it was in the second race at Sugo. Bird dives across the track, looking caught by the camera crews there. It was in that surprise finish at Sugo when Takeshi Kimura leading the race, rising up to the start-finish line for the final time, backed off too soon in celebration. Past came the Aston Martin, and also the car that's going to finish second today, the BMW, that went through as well, so it'd be the same finish, but in this occasion, D-Station Racing will have led from start to finish. And in GT4, it was a simple task for GTO Racing Team. They're not going to win the class today, but all they needed to do was finish the race, which is something that, unfortunately, the 51 AMAC Motorsport Porsche is not going to do. It's in the dust at turn 13 at the final corner. That would normally trigger a safety car, but maybe with a minute to go, we won't be getting that. So that is unfortunate for Andrew McPherson, just outside the top 10. And is going to be sitting there through surely to the end of the race. Or will a safety car get out in time to interrupt that? But either way, surely that now is victory for D-Station Racing. Now, was there a helping hand? Andrew McPherson turns in, but the Comet Racing NSX was diving up the inside. That was not the most skillful moments of the race. Unfortunately, Yusuke Yamasaki going for a gap that simply wasn't there. So, still just trying to see if Takeshi Kimura can just stay ahead in the Car Guy Racing Ferrari. Down in 14th place now after that spin for McPherson, well, the push, the shove. And Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim is close to within 1.3 seconds. But look, the clock has now reached the end of the hour. And that means at the end of this lap, we will have victory for the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. Exemplary performance at the front of the field, certainly kept honest in the first half of the race by Seiji Ara, but now under 3 seconds clear, it matters not. So Satoshi Hoshino is going to come through and take victory. Down the back straight for the final time, light still flashing, BMW Team Studi still chasing. Need to move past the Kref Motorsport GT4 McLaren. The flashing light means the McLaren knows it's there, keeps out of the way. Well done there. And for the Porsche Center, Okazaki, number 30, really that moment has cost them big time. But will they be challenged? They are being challenged on the final lap. Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim is trying to see if he can steal 4th place on this final lap. It's going to be tight, but I think we know the outcome of the race. D-Station Racing Aston Martin going through the final handful of corners, up the slope to turn 11. The track flattens out to the curbs, turn right at turn 12. Done this many, many times. Pressure was there, but not quite enough. Yes, the BMW's closed in, doesn't matter. Satoshi Hoshino has got this one under control. So coming out on the start-finish straight, over towards the pit board and his team, lights a flash. That's 2 wins in 3 races. For the D-Station Racing Aston Martin, great results. That's 2 second places in 3 races for the BMW, and Porsche Center Okazaki come home in 3rd place overall. These are all runners in the Pro-Am class as well, so they will be on 2 consecutive podiums there, and looking to see as Prince Abu Bakr didn't quite catch Hiroaki Nagai, just 0.4 of a second in arrears. But this battle still going all the way to the finish. The checkered flag is out. Car Guy Racing still in front. That's the corner where it went wrong for Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. He's got enough pressure. Kimura, oh, looks like he's about to crack. This time he's got 2 corners after this one. He covers the inside line just about, but Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim is still pushing and not shoving yet. He's got to have a look, but if you don't get it done before turn 12, surely you can't get it done into the final corner. It's a very short downhill dip to turn 13. And with the power on as they pass the stricken AMAC Motorsport Porsche, the job is just done. Car Guy Racing, lights are flashing. Title winners for 2022. That was close. That was packed with drama. So, car in the tyre wall at the second corner comes through to take the title, and the race finishing with a car in the gravel at the final corner. It was put there, it didn't spin of its own accord, but right now let's celebrate with D-Station Racing. There is Tomonobu Fujii, started from pole, brilliant first stint, and he's going down towards the podium to the point where he'll be greeting his teammate Satoshi Hoshino. Just to keep you on top of what was happening in GT4 at the end of the race, it was another win. A great run to the finish for Brian Lee. Didn't need to win the race, only needed the points for 5th place, but he came through to take GT4, overhauling the Team GMB Mercedes to take victory for the GTO Racing team with that number 14 Mercedes, the bright blue one. It's been a good season for the driver from Taipei. Well, that was a race that he's watching again to dissect what it was exactly that happened, but it was certainly full of drama from start to finish. Well, plenty to discuss. There may be some robust conversations between some of the drivers, but there's no doubting the performance of D-Station Racing today. Great to see Team Studi, the Plus Team Studi BMW crew, get a great result there. And 3rd place for Porsche Center Okazaki as well. So they've ended the season in style. But a very happy Satoshi Hoshino there. Can't wait to get his hands device off, his helmet off, and he'll be greeted by teammate Tomonobu Fujii. For Triple Eight JMR, it just wasn't quite their day. Car Guy Racing have taken the overall title. There's Tomonobu Fujii in to greet Satoshi Hoshino. You can see Satoshi shining. All you can see is his eyes, but everything in his body is saying, that was fun. 2 wins in 3 races for the D-Station Racing Aston Martin crew. Happy, happy, happy down there. Oh, yes. Delighted with that result. So, a job well done. Victory from pole, and Amy is down there. She's been very quick, almost as quick as the D-Station Racing crew. Let's catch up with her, because she's caught up first with Tomonobu Fujii, just waiting for the interview to be set up. But Satoshi Hoshino is back in the frame as well. So down to Amy and your own time.
And here I am with the winners of race 2, car number 47 D-Station, Tomonobu Fujii and Satoshi Hoshino. Fujii Senshu, amazing. You nailed it after Sugo, the 2nd win. Congratulations.
Yeah, this is our real first winning. You know, the Sugo, we won the Sugo, but we're lucky, you know. So this is actually our perfect winning, starting from the P1. So we're really happy, and yeah, car was good in the qualifying and also race. So we had a quite good pace from the beginning, and then my first stint also. Hoshino-san, his pace is amazing, so I have to say thanks for the teams to giving us a good car. So really happy. Thanks.
Congratulations. 星野選手、シーズン最終戦優秀の美を飾りました。おめでとうございます。
いやもう最高ですね。昨日ちょっと接触があって残念だったんですけど、今日ポールとインを絶対やると藤井選手と決めていたので、有言実行ができて本当に良かったです。またこのレースは2レース制なんで、1レース目で、残念な結果になっても2レース目で挽回できるという素晴らしいレギュレーションなんで本当に楽しめていると思います。
改めておめでとうございました。So we were a little bit unlucky yesterday, but we could show that we do have the potential, and we did an amazing pole to win. So he's really, really happy about this. And the beauty of the season is when you do not well on Saturday, you can always do better on Sunday. And he's really happy about it. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Amy. Well, that was a race that really the order went up and down. But D-Station Racing, there we have them. 1.2 seconds clear at the end. Victory for Tomonobu Fujii, who started from pole, set fastest lap, and Satoshi Hoshino, who did not put a wheel wrong to take it through to the finish. Chased all the way by the BMW from Team Studi, Seijiara and Yamaguchi. Then Hiroaki Nagai made that slight mistake, and therefore they stayed in third place, but only just because Jasmine Jafar and Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim pushed them right the way to the finish of the race. The top three crews all in the Pro-Am class, in fact the top four crews, as you can see at the top. But look, Aston Martin from BMW, from Porsche, Mercedes, Porsche, Ferrari, 5 makes in the top 6, 6 makes in the top 7, with refueling ambitions taking that 7th place. But right at the bottom of the screen you can see Car Guy Racing, 12th position, but that was the title winning result for them. So down to Amy.
Back on the park Ferme, we have the champions of the season. Kay, I have been interviewing you so many times this time. Congratulations for becoming champion. Probably not the place where you wanted to end, but still, you have the crown now. How do you feel?
What a roller coaster ride, mix of emotions, really. I just couldn't believe what happened at the start. I mean, like I told you before, you know, we're here in for the sport, but when people start, you know, they want to just push you off, I think they totally deserved a 100-second penalty. And at that point, we were in the same position with no points. So even if even if Kimura-san was overtaken by the 99, we still secured the championship. So the moment they gave the 99 the 100-second, I was happy.
I know it's mixed feelings, but congratulations. 木村選手、もう本当にケイ選手も言ってたローラーコースターのようなレースだったと思うんですけど、ジャパンカップも制して、そしてシーズンのオーバーオールチャンピオン獲得です。おめでとうございます。
Thank you for SRO, thank you for AMG, イブラヒム。もうすごいレースでしたね。もうクリーンにやりたかったんですけどね、まああれはもうしょうがないかな。でも SRO がきちんとした判断してくれて、まあ最後フェアに戻してくれて、もうなんか最後はイブラヒム選手ともうあんまりシリーズとか関係なく、もうどっちなんだみたいな。でも彼やっぱりすごく最後クリーンなバトルして、もう私実はちょっとタイヤもともと厳しかったんで、ちょっとアンダーも出ちゃってたんでね、タイロット曲がって、その中で彼はやっぱクリーンに。で最後彼がねフィニッシュした後寄ってくれて、もうこれがなんかレースかなってすごい感動しましたね。まあ本当に SRO とそしてイブラヒム、そして AMG とそして K とチームの仲間に感謝します。ありがとうございます。
シリーズ通してね、本当素晴らしい戦いでした。おめでとうございました。So he is actually really happy about the last battle he had with Prince Ibrahim. They did a clean battle. It was actually more fun than ever, so you could see it on his face. He was really happy about it. So yeah, thanks to the team, thanks to Kay, and he appreciates this win this champion very much. Back to you.
Thank you, Amy. You could sense the emotion down there. So let's just refresh what happened in this last hour and a bit here at the Okayama International Circuit. Let's take a look at the highlights. Brilliant start from pole position from outside the front row, but Nick Foster got the blue Mercedes just in front, but then the brilliant second charge down to the first corner from the pole starter Tomonobu Fujii. Car Guy Racing went to the outside, then ducked to the inside. Unfortunately got trapped between the BMW and the Mercedes, and then down at turn 2. He's given a shove, unfortunately, by Nick Foster. Round he went into the gravel. Looks though that was out of the race. The car was brought back, but was a lap and a half in arrears. The safety car bunched the field up as the recovery was made, slowed everything down. And so for the pole starter Tomonobu Fujii, had to get the restart right. He did, chased by Nick Foster. At this point, it really was clearly going to be championship going to the number 99 888 JMR Mercedes. However, there was a penalty to follow. It was a very draconian one. It was come into the pits, stop for 100 seconds and get going. This is the point at which the Car Guy Racing Ferrari was checked over, back into the race, a lap and a half in arrears. That's still long before the penalty was issued to Nick Foster in the 99 Mercedes. For now, all he had to do was just chase off after the race leader, but Tomonobu Fujii was stretching the advantage all the time. Then there were incidents. That was the Bingo Racing Chevrolet whacking the back of the Comet Racing Honda NSX. Then this was the longest pit stop in Nick Foster's life. No wheels were changed, nothing. It was standstill for 100 seconds. That was just before the pit stop were open, the pit stop window, and the first, second and third place cars, the Aston Martin, the BMW and the Porsche Center Okazaki entry all came in and went out in third position. Then a spin for the Comet Racing Honda, and that was the one that had to blow up the back, and then obviously that delayed it further. But then in the remainder of the race, with the second drivers into the cars, Takeshi Kimura was under huge pressure from Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. Just had the championship in the bag at this point, but this was a battle for pride. To hear how much they enjoyed their racing seats being in the walls everywhere. This is their GT4 Mercedes going around and coming to a halt. And then third incident for the Comet Racing NSX, and Andrew McPherson left with nowhere to go and put into the gravel with 1 lap remaining in the race. But for Car Guy Racing, they were watching to see who would stay ahead. The title was already in the bag for them, but a second win in 3 races for the D-Station Racing Aston Martin team. Studi tucked in behind in second, and Porsche Center Okazaki finishing in third place. But the first 2 championship positions went to those 2 cars, the bright yellow Ferrari and the 99 Mercedes. But it was the year of Car Guy Racing. Today, though, to D-Station Racing and their Aston Martin. So now we await the final podium of the season. There'll be happy faces, there'll be some slightly less happy faces, but certainly the happiest smiles of all will go to Car Guy Racing. They've got the job done, but victors in the race today will be welcoming D-Station Racing and their Aston Martin crew. But the overall podium will be the same as the GT3 podium. They may well be combined or not, because the Pro-Am class took, in fact, looking down the charts at the end of the race, the top 4 positions, all Pro-Am driver lineups. So as Amy is calling the top 3 finishers onto the podium in reverse order. Porsche Center Okazaki, Hiroaki Nagai and Yuta Kamimura. They chased hard, didn't quite come off for them. Second place, BMW Team Studi. Second place in 3 races, Tomohide Yamaguchi and Seiji Ara, who was so strong at the start of the race. But Satoshi Hashimo and teammate Tomonobu Fujii, a victory for them, and they had just an effortlessly good race. They led from start to finish in the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. And the podium presentations by Takahiro Sugiura, the managing director of the Okayama International Circuit, will be handing out the trophies. And for GT4, we have their podiums, another presenter coming up shortly. So 3 crews who've raced well throughout the season, none of them in the championship reckoning, coming here to Okayama. And of course, it's been settled in dramatic circumstances here in a race that was just packed with incident from start to finish. So the winners' trophies, they've got 2 sets of those now, having had victory at Sugo. And here, in the final round of the year, the 5th round of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, and the 4th round of the All Japan, the Fanatec Japan Cup. So we'll tot up the points for that as well. Good crowd, great to see the cars in the sunshine. It was grey at the start of the race, became brighter and brighter. Now the final spray of the champagne for 2023. But today was D-Station Racing Aston Martin on pole position, fastest lap of the race. Victory in the end by just 1.25 seconds, but Satoshi Hashino knew on the final lap the job was done. So at the start of today, we expected to see probably one of the Car Guy Racing crew or the 888 JMR 99 crew on the podium. They didn't make it. Where did they finish? In 12th and 13th positions, a lap down, but still racing to the finish. But in the end, the title went to Car Guy Racing. And to the winners, a chance to fold themselves into the Agibo beanbags for another photo, a championship speciality here. They're sitting pretty, and feeling very comfortable with life. They enjoyed the race today, and very well done to D-Station Racing. It's been a fantastic season. Started at Sepang, travelled to Suzuka, Fuji, Sugo and Okayama, the last two for the first time, and some enthralling racing. Today it was D-Station Racing that waved the flag in the boldest fashion of all, but only just ahead of BMW Team Studio. But for the season, to the victors, Car Guy Racing, the title is theirs. So, back with us at the Okayama International Circuit. We've had the first podium ceremony. And now we're looking at GT3 AM. In third place is the number 40, is not the 44 crew, I beg your pardon, because of course they're not eligible for points. The winners on the top step, they've had a really, really good weekend. It's the number 19 crew. Hiroshi Hamaguchi on the top step with for refueling ambitions with Mineki Okura. Second place goes to the crew that won yesterday, Team Uematsu with their McLaren. That's Tadeo Uematsu and Yudai Uchida. And third place today, Bingo Racing, just one of their representatives on the podium there. That was the incredibly luridly cartooned bright yellow Chevrolet Corvette on the podium for third place, but not eligible for points in the championship, just to be quite pedantic there, because only joined the championship for this, the final round. It's been a good weekend for the McLaren crew, for Team Uematsu. We've had 3 class wins today. Second place, this is the GT3 AM class for all bronze driver pairings. And for Hiroshi Hamaguchi, that was a good run. The only Lamborghini in the championship this year, and Mineki Okura, that is their 3rd class victory. In fact, that was a good result for them, 7th place overall. So as others had their mishaps, they just kept going and put that one into the bag. It's funny how the difference from one day to the other. Yesterday, anything that could seem to go wrong for the Lamborghini crew did, and today it's all come right. So the champagne finally opened by the GT3 AM runners. We've still got 2 podiums to go, because we've got the GT4 class podiums to come, but joy unfolded on there. And again, it just emphasises in the championship here, you've got 5 different titles to aim at. 2 in GT4, 2 in the senior class, 3 in the senior class for GT3. So as much as it's easy to focus on the lead of the race and the outright championship, there's always other battles within the overall battle to enjoy. So now will be the turn of the GT4 celebrations, but we will first show you some results coming up, because it was a race of so many changes. It was quite hard to keep up with what was happening at times. I could tell you at all points the D-Station Racing Aston Martin was leading. It was led from pole, set the fastest lap, and it finished the race still in front by 1.2 seconds. So well done to Satoshi Hoshino, who brought it home, and Tomonobu Fuji, who led away from pole. BMW took second place, Ara and Yamaguchi, and Porsche Center Okazaki made it 3 makes in the top 3 positions, Yuta Kamimura and Hiroaki Nagai. And now the GT4 podium ceremony. Third place overall car. Very tidy indeed in GT4. Third place, by the way, was car number 17, the Kref Motorsports McLaren. Yuko Suzuki took a podium yesterday as well, and Masataka Inoue. Second place going to the 33 Team GMB Mercedes crew of Hiroaki Hatano and Shinya Hosokawa. But again, they've got stronger and stronger through the seasons. They're the GT4 champions. Brian Lee and Hideto Yasuoka also in a Mercedes for the GTO racing team. So the trophies presented by Kotaro Ikuta, MD of Dixel, the advanced braking solutions company. It was good to have the McLaren in the mix there as well today. hasn't been at every round of the championship. These two Mercedes crews, Team GMB on the left and in the black overalls, GTO Racing Team. So it's been a really strong end to the season for the champions here. Came here, they had everything. They needed one more title to have the title in the bag before today's race. Just needed to finish, but they did better than that. They just needed to finish 5th out of the 5 starters. No problem at all. They took the race win, with Brian Lee working his way from 2nd to 1st to end in fantastic style. Top out a brilliant year for them in the GT4 class. Still some matters under investigation, various clashes, quite a few of them unfortunately involving that number 7 Comet Racing Honda. So just a chance to see the car. GMB, I noticed their drivers, I've looked at the timing screens, they're listed in 2nd place, but they were on the top step of the podium. I was just double back and we're seeing their car rather than the number 14 Mercedes of GTO Racing Team winning GT4 at the final round. So the championship has come to an end. The Fanatec Japan Cup, a very popular element, and that's definitely going to be a strident part of the championship for next year. 4 of the 6 rounds for 2023 already announced, dates out there as well, will be for the Fanatec Japan Cup, starting with a race in Thailand, back to the Chang International Circuit to kick the championship off. And in GT4 AM, we have the 2 starters, 2 cars. Comet Racing, number 4 with their Mercedes. They had a little crash at the end. Masaki Fujii and Kazuhiro Sakai. And on the top step, Masayuki Ueda and Masayoshi Oyama, the 2 drivers for Akiland Racing, with the sole Toyota Supra in the race, and they take the final GT4 AM trophies of the season. And please report message just coming up on the screen. No further action for the contact between that number 7 Comet Racing Honda and car 51, which is Andrew McPherson's AMAC Motorsport Porsche. So now the final podium ceremony, the final chance for drivers to find their more thumbs than fingers as they struggle to open their champagne bottles. But for GT4 AM, they've got the fizz flowing. Still plenty of racing to have here. And down below, it's a busy day at Okayama. The grid is now filling with road-going minis of all shapes, sizes, colours and varieties. There's a strong mini racing championship earlier today, so great to see this fabulous circuit in the southwest of Japan with plenty of action for the fans to enjoy. But certainly the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS, was dramatic from the first corner of the opening lap at Sepang at the end of May right through to the closing laps here this afternoon at Okayama. So let's take a look. By 1,000th of a second, Brian Lee and Hideto Yasuoka taking victory in GT4. 1,000th of a second, that's absolutely extraordinary. It was right on the final lap the change happened. Hatano and Hosokawa second for Team GMB, and the top AM runner, we've just seen them on the podium in their Toyota, in 3rd place overall in GT4 today. So that is the last result table of the last race at the last round of the season. And let's now look at the championship standings in the top class, GT3, exactly as they were for the first 2 crews at the top of the table today. Kei Kozolino and Takeshi Kimura started on 126 points, finished on 126 points. They had the accident going onto the opening lap in turn 2, but Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim and Nick Foster, they didn't score any points today either. They finished behind them on the track as well, down in 12th and 13th positions a lap down. The race had too much drama for the pair of them, but it still meant that Kozolino and Carguy Racing, with teammate Takeshi Kimura, won the championship for their team and for Ferrari, but it was packed with drama from start to finish. Well, that's it. And just to point out, the win today for Satoshi Hoshima, Shino and Tomonobu Fuji moved them up to 5th place at the end. So that's it for 2022. Do make sure you join us for next year. We've already got the 6 championship dates issued. We can't wait for it. Thank you for joining us through 2022. Goodbye.